Greetings, everyone. Alaafia and Salam Alaikum. Um, whatever other greetings you go by in your native tongue or your traditional language. This is OsunToyin back again. Hood rituals and beauty, and I'm here in my space today. I've been gone for about 2 weeks now, but wanted to make sure y'all knew I wasn't going nowhere, and I want to jump back on the scene real quick so that I can start back on some things that I'm sure other people have probably talked about, or messages have been circulating around there. But when we have good messages, those of us who have good messages, they need to keep being said as a continuous reminder of things out here today. I'm not here to talk about anything beauty. Of course, we'll talk about that at the end of everything, where you can come in for certain services. But these shows right here are conducted for aspiring spiritualists, um, people who are already active spiritually, or whatever it may be. Um, so today, what I wanted to talk about, what I want to touch on, is character. Character among spiritualists in the spiritual community. And I'm just, letting this filter and ask my ancestors to, kind of guide me on what I want to say, because I can kind of get carried away with this topic, simply because character is very, very, very underrated. And for whatever reason, in spiritual communities, once we and myself, I am initiated. I'm initiated, and I think I've mentioned it before. I mention it again. To Oshun, I'm a priestess of Oshun. I'm also a natural spiritualist, a root worker. It runs in my blood. It is what it is with that. So I would be, regardless, doing spiritual work, whether I knew about these traditions or not, because it's in you and it's not on you. So, with that being said, I'm also a very, very newly scratched um, Yagi in Palo. And that's something else that I want to talk about. I'm not a hush hush person. I'm not going to keep things quiet. I'm going to make sure that I talk about what needs to be talked about, the things that go overlooked, because a lot of people are trend riders. People have a sheep and a herd mentality. And the reason why I say that is because there's a lot of victimizing among people in spiritual communities due to lack of character from people who claim to be priest or priestess. And no, I'm not talking about character as far as like, oh, they cussed and this, that, and other. I cuss. I got a potty mouth. That's neither here nor there. It's another thing when you cuss versus cursing people. And there's a lot of people in these traditions that are cursing people who are coming to them for help, people who are looking to them, to get guidance, who don't know what they know or not know. They're trusting basically at that point, because it is very real in spirituality, where some things may be a matter of life and death. Some things can happen. I've seen things happen, made things happen in this tradition, where in these traditions where you just don't play with people. And there's a lot of people who know this. They know it spiritually, but they are negative spirits. They are negative beings that have initiations and a means to do negativity in the world and to wreak havoc and to be charlatans. And they figure they have license now as initiates or whatever to do so. So I want to talk about this character thing. You know, no matter what you have, no matter how many pots you play around with, fetishes, no matter whose name you call, no matter what title you are given as a traditionalist in these spiritual systems, first of all, let's go back to the beginning of them. Our ancestors, this means ancestors of people with melanin in their skin. Let's be clear on it. Our melanated ancestors created Palo Mayombe. They created Ifa. They created a lot of these different traditional systems when there was no interruptions, no distractions on Earth between them, universal, how do you say, universal consciousness, a connection between nature and themselves. There were no distraction. So a lot of things that were learned or quote unquote magic or alchemy that took place because they had, how do you say, the time, the energy, the knowledge, and the ashe at that time to do so. They were not as tainted in the beginning. And I'm going back to the beginning, those who first started to formulate different traditions here on earth. Because yes, they all are to a degree man-made, but there's a divine energy that runs within it so that you know that it's legit. You know when it's real because the things that you see happen, the connection, the answers that you get all come to fruition. They all manifest. You're able to move things in a very supernatural way, and that is not figuratively speaking. I mean literally. So you have people, and our ancestors passed this down. Let me go back to that. Our ancestors passed this down from generation to generation. Understand that it's also within our DNA, the very thing that the thought and the spark that fueled us into existence. That DNA that's channeled from one part of one realm to another is still encoded in our DNA to know these things. And at certain points in our life, you know, mine particularly, as many others, trauma had to take place in order for me to touch upon tradition again or to wander back to it so that I could reactivate that genetic code within myself. Knowing that it was already there, I had to go through certain things to make me want to go ahead and consciously connect to and make a commitment to a spiritual way of living. Um, so what does that have to do with character? It has everything to do with character. Because for one, people are running around because they think they have the license to do so, and they're making a mockery of what our ancestors left here for us to sustain, not just ourselves, but everything around us, for us to bring harmony in a world where we already knew negative energies existed, but they also always need a catalyst, whether they act out through forces of nature or whether they act out or come into play through beings, through physical animated beings. It could be animals, it could be humans, whatever. They always going to have a catalyst to basically manifest themselves just as well as any good entities that come here to this earth. So when we as spiritualists, you know, take the accountability, and not everybody is called to do the same thing in spirituality. And you also have a lot of people running around doing things that they are not to be doing, that's not even in their character to do, or they have not taken time to adjust their character. They just basically what we call putting ashe on top of shit. So you got people that they have a lot of unhealed trauma, and all of us do have some kind of trauma, you know, but they have a lot of unhealed trauma, shadow work, things that they need to do that they have not even acknowledged, and it comes out in everything that they do. You see what I'm saying? So like you'll have people that's initiated, and I'm gonna be honest, and where I've experienced it the most, not just, but there has been a very in Palo Mayombe, and I don't care who comes on, who says what, who listens. At whatever point in time, I said what I said, I meant what I said, and the universe will stand for what I'm saying. Palo, the people that I have met in whatever branch of Palo, and I've met many along the way, have a very low moral stance. Very, very low moral stance. And the reason why I say that is because there's no accountability of character among many of them. And they will pretend. You got charlatans in any tradition, in any walk of life. Okay, let me say that. any walk of life. But in this one, it's a warrior society, created by our warrior ancestors through slave trade. When they had to hide certain things and they took it over from the Congo to Cuba and different places or whatever. Which started there in Cuba first. So it had some Kikongo, some Creole, different languages, even a little bit of Yoruba mixed up in there. So with that being said, there's a lot of disrespect in our traditional systems. I've been disrespected in the traditional system, Apollo, as far as somebody who was of Hispanic lineage telling me, what we do know and what we don't know, and like we don't connect to spirit because of whatever their reasons is. And they're talking about black people of melanin, basically, when it was our ancestors who left it here. You see what I'm saying? Who left it in whatever country they touched upon. We carry our spirituality with us. Again, it's in our DNA. So then you have people that pick it up and they abuse it. And then you have people of melanin who undervalue themselves, that go to these people and allow them to talk down on their very ancestors who created this tradition and allowed it to be passed down to people who abuse us. And we allow it to happen. And then we turn around and we abuse each other. And in these traditions, I talk about the low moral stance in many of them because there are so many other negative wars to be fought out here. You got this so-called biochemical warfare going on, which is called COVID right now, whatever. It's a biochemical warfare. It's very intentful, very intentional. You have all of these things around us, and nobody has thought, hey, let's, on a large scale, not just little individuals like me. Of course, I thought about it. I'm sure a few other people thought about it. Well, why don't we get together collectively and why don't we do the work to take care of these things? We can move things. I've seen it happen. You see what I'm saying? Made it happen. But collectively, we can move mountains. But instead, you got people running around and playing little pot piss games with their fetishes and whatever you want to call them. They got names to them. We're not gonna get into that. But you got people running around playing over pots and throwing at each other and throwing witchcraft at each other, having no more character over things that are super petty and control issues and egos flying everywhere. And nobody is checking it because they feel like they have a license to play those games. They feel like they have the permission by some type of low life spirit that they are catering to. Okay, that they're becoming a slave to themselves because that's what happens. They feel like because they're playing those games that nobody can stop them. Well, wait a minute. All of these spirits were created, meaning all of them are seen, meaning all of them can be dealt with, meaning there's nobody, no matter who you are, that can pick up any kind of pot, no kind of implements, that can say any kind of prayer at the end of the day, that our ancestors, nature, and the universe that allowed this in creation to go unchecked. Okay? Everything is going to go checked. And so let me talk about the character of these people in these traditions. They also, when they know they're about to get their ass kicked, when they know they have a karmic debt upon themselves for their low moral stance and their low character and their bad character, that what they do is they prey on innocent people. Okay, so they'll go and get somebody who has blessings that they see in their future, or these people have a more pure energy. You think that these people care, and I'm saying this for anybody who's seeking a traditional path, not to scare you, because it can happen anywhere. People pray on you in the churches, okay? They pray on their congregation. So the thing is to arm up, to walk this world spiritually aware. You see what I'm saying? And to take accountability for your spiritual warfare, because that's all this world is. It's a manifestation of spiritual warfare, of harmony or disharmony. It's one or the other. And it's a constant battle between them. So you have, people that get preyed on because of the blessings that they have with them. by people who have lost their character. Therefore, they are losing their blessings. They know that. So when they see somebody they think is pure or naive or, just got a little bit more umph working with them, what they do, they see you as a life force to literally suck on, to deplete, to use you for your blessings is what they think that they can do. But for those of us who don't allow it, who fight back, who are spiritually aware, who are in tune, these people, their weakness is their ego. Their weakness is them thinking that they're smarter than the next person. And yes, I'm coming from a very personal standpoint, if y'all can't tell. They think that people who are not evil or malicious or who go around bragging about what they can do to people publicly and things like that, they assume that you must be weaker, that you must not have what it takes to fight them back, that you're not ready. Okay, so people with ego like this, just like the government and many other people that do crazy stuff to the masses or to people who they feel like are weaker than them, their ego is always their downfall. I don't care if they even hear this message, their ego is still going to be their downfall because at some point they feel or assume that they're invincible, that they're smarter than the next person. So they underestimate them. So they always make room for themselves to be poached somewhere in that energy. Wait a minute. Nothing. Going on and you have people out here preying on other people and creating calamities when they see pure people who they think they can live off of their blessings or somebody who has a little bit more luck in life. So they say luck is a real I guess basic word, but we're going to say blessings. People who have blessings riding with them because these people may constantly be in character check. Not that they're perfect, but they may constantly be in character check. So because of that and because of their heart, their intentions in the world, the way that they walk in the world, your intentions are always seen. That's what carries the weight. You can make all kind of mistakes, and yes, and that depends on what subject we're talking about with that, of course, but you can make a mistake, but because your intentions was not what it was, if your intentions was pure, was true, and you were just ignorant to something or whatever, you may be given a different opportunity to correct that, and it doesn't carry the same weight that it would if you intentionally or knowingly did something that you know you should not be doing. Um, so the reason why I was talking about intentions and I'm talking about intentions is because I'm gonna use this as a narrative. Okay, so like say for example, there is like a story, and I know I'm not telling it right. I'm skipping around it, but you'll get the message. There was and this is talking about people in spiritual living. There was a king or a man who had, you know, all of this money and things like that, and he needed to have a ceremony, ritual, sacrifice, whatever people know it as. He needed work done. He had the money. So his energy, his demeanor, his intentions, him being so used to paying for it and getting what he wanted because he could, was his intentions was arrogant. It was hollow. He was self-assured to the point where there was no room for growth in his decision to do what he did, basically. So he was like, oh, I know I need this and I know I need that. Here, take the money. I got it. You know, and his sacrifice did not work. It did not carry weight because his intentions had no weight. They had no heart to it. They had no how do you say it? They were unfulfilled. It was insincere. Okay. So it didn't carry the weight that it should have to bring him back what he needed. So then you have this woman who she has no money, none at all, none at all. She literally, with the last ounce of humility she had in her, took a handful of dirt and prayed for what she wanted and asked for what she wanted. She prayed until she cried, you know, whatever. She poured her heart into that pile of dirt that she had in her hand. She got everything she asked for with that pile of dirt. Her sacrifices were accepted and she was granted what she asked for. She had more than she thought she could ever have. And he had nothing but money. You see what I'm saying? So, what people don't understand and what I'm trying to get to is your character is all you have. After you've made your initiations, after you have done all of this work, after you've bragged, after you spent all this money, after you've done all of this, your character is what carries you through life. There's only so much fighting that you can do before you run out of fight or either lose it. Okay, so you can run around, people can run around fighting, they can run around stirring up stuff, they can go and start feeling that they invincible, but it's just like the feds. You know how the feds will let somebody you know, they'll let them accumulate so much so it's worth actually taking, so that when it gets taken from them, it's gonna level them. They're gonna be left with nothing. It's so much evidence built up against them that they don't even really stand chance in a trial. Okay, so that's pretty much the same thing that happens universally because these people figure that their pots that's created from Earth being the highest form of power we have right around us, surrounding us, nature is what I'm saying. These fetishes, these pots, the Orisha, you know, the spirits of Apollo and Fumba, you know, all of these different things, they all, no matter what tradition, there's so many more. Kali, I mean, I could keep going. There are so many different traditions where everything we build from what we build in these traditions, the implements we use are built from nature or humans or something left behind. You see what I'm saying? Some kind of natural artifact, something. That's what gives it the power. Other than that, it has none. So for one thing, you have to understand that everything we do is being monitored by something higher than ourselves, a little bit more intelligent than ourselves. So the only thing that will save you at the end of the day, um, again, is your character. And so when I started talking about that, you know, that came to me the day I talked to my ancestors, and you know, I had thought about it already, but I actually forgot because I don't do scripts or whatever, you know. So I was like, oh no, what am I talking about? And I, you know, I got through hollering at people, and they was like, talk about what you said you was gonna talk about, baby. Character. That's important. People losing it. Again, I talked about that last time. People are losing their minds. They're losing patience. They're losing focus. they're losing attention of what matters. Either they're finding it or they losing it. There is no more in between right now. And I'm speaking specifically again on this traditional path, these traditional paths, because it does not matter what the name, what the particulars are, what the details are, all of that does not matter. What I'm talking about is the energy that exists within all of them. And that is us, our character makes it spin. It us utilizing these implements, these tools, these abilities, these prayers, our ancestors, all of these things is what gives it strength. You see what I'm saying? And it in turn it gives us strength. So because some people become so miserable, so caught up, so whatever it is, some people have all these initiations, so they just brag about it. That's all they can brag about. And because it's just like somebody who's out here saying that they have this huge house and they got all this money and this, that, and the other. People who don't have it or don't feel like they have it or feel like that's a means to success or that makes you more important or that makes you valid, they're going to follow those people blindly. They follow them without asking questions. So you have people like that. It's the same thing in tradition. You got people that throw around how much they paid for their initiations, how much this. You can pay all that money and somebody give you absolutely nothing. So that means nothing. Okay, let's be clear on that. How much you paid for something means nothing. You see what I'm saying? Nothing if the character was not there. Nothing if the protocol was not there. Nothing if the intentions, excuse me, if the intentions were not well. If it was not, what do you say, a blessed intention, meaning the universe, your ancestors, um, granted you blessings to do what you do and how you do it. When you leave outside of those realms of blessings, then you just doing stuff. You just doing man-made stuff, and anything is subject to happen at that point. And so, my message to people who are seeking a spiritual path or who are new to it or who's been in one and feel disempowered, whatever you may be feeling, just know first and foremost that your ancestors, as long as you allow them to have your back, will have your back. It's all in your delivery, it's all in your prayers, it's all in your intentions. Intentions always will be everything. Um, it's also in your lessons, the lessons that you learn, to not repeat the same lessons. I have had to learn that. um Trusting, not so much, not being learned or not being intelligent or being ignorant to something. I do trust the process of spirituality a lot. Some of the thing, my issue was I wasn't checking on some people. I've had issue with myself where I may check and I still do it anyway because I'm thinking, hey, maybe I can change the situation. Maybe if I do this, or do that, it'll change the outcome. Stop manipulating what spirit already has seen farther than you. If you're going to be a person in spirituality that asks a question, trust what it is. Don't test it. Trust me. Do not test the waters, because sometimes you don't want to find out why you were told no, or this, that, and the other. You can learn how to hear the message in between. I do teach classes on that. You can learn how to hear the message in between, because there's a certain way that when you add certain things, how it comes up has more than just that message. It may be some spirit speaking in between. So there's a lot of different ways to check into situations before jumping into something. Do research, go on Facebook, talk to your ancestors, sit with it for a while, think about it, ask for it to show up in your dreams. If you feel like you've been under attack in your dreams and you're not clear, or you're not clear, you don't trust your dreams, things like that, then reach out to somebody like myself, or I can have you to reach out to somebody else. It just depends on the situation, so that we can help you to establish a way of communication, so that you, while you're on this path or you are seeking to elevate, because that's ultimately the goal, should be for everybody. Not monetary wise only, not financially, not materially only, because after that is left here, your spirit is what carries. Your soul is what carries. That's what returns back to your ancestral realm, and that is what you are judged off of in your ancestral realm, or what is looked at. You know, so you want to always make sure that you are in check with your character, with your intentions, and then sit with it when seeking out teachers in spirituality. When you're going to search for godparents, vet them out just the same way they will vet you out. Don't be in a rush. I rushed into things before, and I have most definitely learned my lesson, because even when you are not looking for something, even when your intentions is not to create a certain type of situation, you're just trying to do what you need to do. Your intentions is golden. You want to help the world. You want to do this and you want to do that, and you want to, start working on yourself and your family and your loved ones, and you want to answer that calling to either be a healer or answer that calling to uplift your bloodlines, because not everybody is to be a traditional worker or community worker, meaning go out and do work for other people. Some people, you go through certain rites of passage or knowledge just to elevate or re-elevate your ancestors who may have forgotten, and they relive it through you remembering, so that activates something. So you got all kind of different scenarios out here, and they can all be found out. Nothing is above the moon. We can know all of these things. We are divine collective consciousness, meaning no question that we can form and ask will go unanswered. If we ask, it will come an answer. Um, so what do I want to say about that again? So make sure that when you're picking out a godparent, or you're trying to pick out certain houses, and spirit also say, make sure your intentions is good. Don't be trying to power climb. You're gonna be sorry. Telling you now. Because people already know what you are doing. If they're already in that space, right? And they're already been working what they have been working, they may have seen what you coming with already before. They may have already experienced certain things before. They're a little bit ahead of you. You may be smart. You may be, whatever you say you are to a degree. But understand, these people are on a different playing field. So don't go in with intentions to take over somebody's house. Don't go in with intentions to run to the top of the spiritual chain, because it's not gonna happen. You can be who you are in your highest destiny and live that out. And however that affects your family, the community around you, so be it. Create a good name for yourself. Do your job. Do what you do. There'll be people before you. There'll be people after you. So all that you have is your intentions. If you go vet out a godparent or a spiritual house or a tradition, make sure you have questions. Make sure you have a focus. Make sure you have a destination of what you are trying to achieve in your life. Make sure there are certain things that you are already looking into, so that you'll know what you are trying to, like I said, trying to achieve. Um, when you go and you look for a quick advance in spirituality, you're bound to get hurt in more ways than one. First of all, men and women will take advantage of you that are more advanced than you. They know what you're doing. So that's going to be an issue. And also, you can have a heart of gold, and they also won't care. And I do mean this. People will tell you that they do. They will tell you they have good intentions for you. They will give you everything that your spirit want to hear and been hearing, and they may be lying through their teeth. Okay? So give it an opportunity. Be patient. Trust the process. Give them an opportunity to prove themselves to you as you prove yourselves to them. Because if you're going to seek a teacher, understand you are seeking a teacher. They've already been doing what they're doing. So you have to go with an amount of respect. You do. or you just do it on your own, you know. So yes, you do go with a particular amount of respect, but never allow your crown to be disrespected. And when I say that, know what it means for you to be disrespected. Somebody asking you to follow a simple protocol in their house or in their with their rules or whatever, as long as it does not make you feel violated, awkward, outcasted, whatever that may be, that does not feel good to your soul. Make sure your soul is in check so you know what feels good to your soul. Make sure your intentions is pure, and then you will know what you will allow and what you won't allow. But also make sure that you go with the same amount of respect that you expect in return. That you have things set up as far as loyalty, intentions to have loyalty. Things can always change. You know, make sure that you are right, and make sure that you are treated well. Make sure you ask questions. You know, and again, don't rush into anything. Check their character. If you already see something that's fishy, you see that, you know, they just got bad character. You know, you can be people can be in a bad space. Again, like I said, I cuss. So that has nothing to do with who I am, what I do. You see what I'm saying? So you want to make sure you watch how they move. You know what I'm saying? And you kind of feel them out. People show themselves real quick if you're not caught up in what you're trying to do right now and what you want to make happen fast. Pay attention. There's always little signs there where you will know right away whether that's something that you want to do or whether it's something you don't want to do. Okay? Excuse me. So, with that being said, character is a very underrated, overlooked, and the most, if not, it is the most important thing in any tradition, anywhere, in any walk of life, even business. People think that they can separate character in business. No, because what you are doing is creating a karmic vibration for what your business will look like in the future. It may start off good, it may be booming, but your intentions, how you treat people along the way, things that you do along the way, is going to affect the outcome in it at some particular point in time. And you will have to weigh those scales. It is what it is. Um, Nothing is different in spirituality, you know. So with that being said, in every walk of life, people have found a way to detach their character, their intentions from all that they do and think that there's no reprimandment for it. You know, that's why some of the most craziest people, and I'm not talking about anybody, some of the most craziest people that I've seen are a lot of religious people as well. It's just people everywhere who don't take accountability, who have gotten I want to say egotistical and cocky in what they do. They start to again overestimate themselves and underestimate others. They start to take their position lightly or whatever the reasons may be. People throw character out the window and they forget it real quick because what that does, it takes constant self-assessment to generate good character. With that being said, if you got somebody who's always running to grab money as a spiritualist. They're always running. When they have time to actually fill themselves up? When do they have time to check their character? When they got time to clean? Because spiritual energy transfers. Okay, energy transfers whether you know it does or not. That's what energy is. You see what I'm saying? It's spirit in motion. So with that being said, you know, they transfer from here to there, you know, they're pressing things with people and they're making things happen that they don't even realize happen because they're not following spiritual protocol themselves. They're rushing to get paid and they're rushing to get money. Yes, people are supposed to be paid for their services, no doubt about it. But you want to also make sure that your intentions is good so that you'll know you're not being taken advantage of by somebody who's a charlatan and who has bad character or bad intentions for you. Um, Honestly, you know, I don't know if I've been missing anything. It's getting a little loud in here, but I don't know if I missed anything as far as you know character in tradition and just period. But just understand again, and I would have to keep saying that it's nothing that you can escape. there is a weight and a balance attached to everybody's character. You want to make sure you walking in some kind of alignment. We all have to check and balance ourselves. We all do. Um, but if you see this video and you're listening, I hope that it resonates with you and that you understand that you don't have to be in a rush to do anything, and that even if you do or don't participate in a spiritual path, this is a spiritual world where everything manifests. So you still want to be conscious, you want to be aware, you want to know in any walk of life what you are doing character wise and what other people are doing around you character wise. So that when you start to do that and pay attention to your character, you're less easily tricked, you're less easily persuaded, um, and vice versa. Things become very transparent, is what I say. Oh, and I did pick, um, not pick, but Spirit did give me some messages today. I did do a little bit of. I picked 3 cards. I pulled 3 cards today. Um, from my Oracle deck, not a tarot deck today, but from the Oracle deck. So just kind of like a little message of the day. My first one that I pulled was I communicate with compassion. And so, with that being said, speaking on what we were speaking on, because that's the energy that I was going off of when I tapped into these cards, is that communicating with compassion means that you put yourself in that person's shoes, even character wise. We keep talking about character. You put yourself in the next person's shoes to remove yourself, remove your whatever you're going through, let it go so that you can communicate in a space and a time that's easily heard or delivered or brings back a good energy feel for yourself, that brings back good energy for you. So it's talking about communicating with compassion. Maybe somebody in particular needed to hear that, that it was foreseen. And maybe it's also talking about, because I didn't go like into doing a reading for somebody, I just picked and chose what Spirit was saying was needed for this conversation. That's all. um so communicating with compassion, whatever that means to you, and whatever that means to this conversation, is pretty self-explanatory. Um, Next one is I benefit with gratitude. Y'all don't look at my nails. I benefit with gratitude. So when they talk about benefiting with gratitude, that does have a lot to say as far as tradition. There's a lot of people who forget, and what that spoke to me when I saw this card is benefiting with gratitude. A lot of traditionalists, or even old school spiritualists, they just get old and they get sour, they get bitter, they forget that their character is why they end up in the positions that they are in later on in life, and that somewhere they lost their character, somewhere they lost touch with who they were, what they were supposed to be doing, how they were supposed to be working for the people. They neglected to have gratitude for the people who were coming to them. You see what I'm saying? You benefit, and the spiritualists benefit in some kind of way when somebody comes to them. Don't think that they don't. But for the most part, it's supposed to benefit the person seeking help. Sometimes they don't benefit. It depends on the situation. But I'm speaking to and about specifically those in traditional systems. Oh, this thing on thing is getting on my nerve. Okay, had some technical difficulties again. Sorry. Y'all can't stop me. I don't care about that. You know, these negative energies be out here working, but you can't stop me. So again, benefiting with gratitude. People, and that goes to the student as well. If you go seeking help from a teacher, because good teachers with pure hearts like myself and a few others, very few others, if I really even met them, like myself, that do have good intentions for self, for family, and for the world in general, even if that means fighting for it. Don't mean we soft, don't mean we pushovers, means none of that. A warrior will fight for what they know is right, and they fight for justice, they fight for things to work out the way it should. And a lot of times, to make situations work the correct way, you got to fight. You got to go to war. So, with that being said, you know, when you go and you seek a teacher, likewise have gratitude. They don't have to do anything for you, they walk in their path. Okay. So, if they're already walking their path, what are you going to do for them? Your money, you know, you go, you pay for a $50 read, 65, 175 is, you know, if you, whoever paying 175 for readings, if you do, that's not going to pay somebody's rent. You know, it's not going to do all of that. So it's not saying that they should be ungrateful, but it's saying also don't think that because you pay for something that you own somebody and they're on your time, and you start to be ungrateful and think they're supposed to move when you want them to move. Likewise, the spiritualist who has people who entrust them technically with their life to come to them should never neglect or not be grateful for the clients or the godchildren or the people who come to seek them, because it's ultimately the godchildren that carry on your tradition, that carry on your immortality through their practices. They carry on your name. So when you make a good name for yourself, you leave a strong foundation. You leave a strong with a strong presence, you know, for people to remember you by. But you have to have gratitude for the people who entrust you with this information of of themselves, their livelihood. You know, they come to you with all kind of personal things, trusting that they're going to be taken care of, and you are responsible for them. We are responsible for them at that point. That's why I'm not quick personally to take everybody who comes to me. I won't read for everybody. I won't take you in. I won't teach everybody. I will have to check first, because maybe it's not that I have bad intentions, but maybe I'm not the teacher you need. You see what I'm saying? That's why people got to let ego go. So, with that being said, please benefit with gratitude. Last card before I get ready to close out is, it's funny because I talk about this almost every in every series or episode, is I care for the earth. So caring for the earth is self-explanatory. When you understand that you coexist, you're going to ask these forces of nature. You asking Orisha, you asking spirits of Apollo, whatever. It does not matter what tradition it is. When you get technical, I'm just saying that you are seeking help from spirits of nature. We eat off of nature. Nature is alive. The earth is a living, breathing, moving entity that possesses many, many different aspects within itself. So anytime you know, desecrate the earth in some kind of way, we're having a ripple effect within our future. We're having a ripple effect in our children's future. So that's why I go back to our character, appreciating things, appreciating each other, not fighting each other in these spiritual traditions, because we have wars that are bigger than us to fight right now collectively. People, bloodlines, government systems, all of this who is set on destroying the earth, destroying certain people, groups of people, things like that. Why is traditionalists not focusing on that? That makes no sense. That is the most petty, ridiculous way of life to live as a spiritualist, when you're not thinking collectively, when you're not thinking for the earth around you and you have children. You can think, yeah, immediately, in that situation for your children. Oh, I'm just gonna preserve my babies. Well, hell, they ain't gonna be by themselves on the earth. They do have to have an earth. Where you want them to go? You see what I'm saying? If you care about your future, securing the future of yourself, your children, the generations to come after you, I'm saying think forward and care about what is around you. These spirits, these forces of nature, these Orisha, which are forces of nature, all of these spirits that we go out here asking something from, we give offerings when we want something, but we not also giving it. Many people are not giving it in the sense of the earth replenishing itself. You can give seeds back to the earth as an offering so that it can continue to replenish itself. Be thoughtful in what you do. Think forward. Don't think money wise. Money comes from the earth. People cut down trees to create money. Whatever is using natural resources, whether it's metal, whether it's paper, whatever it is, it had to come from something on this earth. It didn't come out from outside the earth. So what I'm saying is we have to start using common courtesy, respect for all things around us, and what we do. And I'm talking specifically to spiritualists who are out here wilding out and thinking that they just, invincible and they got some type of powers that they done conjured up out of nowhere that can't nobody else see and don't nobody else know. Baby, they are of the earth. Hello. And even if they are of the universe, they are being seen. And eventually you're going to have to pay back what you are taking. And you can't always feed it somebody else. You can't always feed it something else pure to try to keep saving your own life. Eventually it will catch up. So please take care of each other, have good intentions, pay attention to your intentions. Everybody's still not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? But it's my job to say that, because if you're listening to this, you heard it, you're aware, you're accountable. Ashe. And moving forward, everybody be easy. And I'll be seeing y'all on the next show. Please take care of yourselves and remember to vet people out. Pay attention. Don't rush into things.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them. Night in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? No more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get
and
back
that
to
motive
the
is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.